Hi everyone, welcome to the Superhuman Switch, a mind, body, business empowering podcast guaranteed to switch your superhuman levels on. I'll be talking with startup founders, business owners, and corporate executives striving to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I'm your host, Saf. Today I'm joined with Diego Centeno. Diego is the co-founder and CEO of Frío Sparkling Water and the senior consultant for Dubai CrossFit Championship. We will talk about his experience in the consultancy in the fitness industry and as a founder of a startup since 2019. And of course, we're gonna dive into the mental, basically resilience and physical resilience facing the challenges for managing a business. So Diego, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Diego. Of course, we have kind of a friendship relationship, and we had several conversations about your journey. And my relationship is basically started since CrossFit. I think since more than 5-6 years.
Yeah, I think we talked right before you were thinking about making a move.
Yeah.
And you told me you were going to make a move, and I think you're looking into doing something at Guy Beach. You're like, I want to do like not SEAL training, but you were looking at this. Just what was happening inside the gym wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like feeling it out. But I don't think you were ready yet to like, it was one of those conversations many conversations I often have with people. And they're like, I'm kind of playing with the idea, but you haven't done it yet. And then the next time I saw you, you had made the jump.
Yeah.
Even though we still live in Dubai, it was like maybe like 1.5 years or 2 years. And you're like, dude, I jumped.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna dive into this topic, but I'm really interested to know, first of all, just to give a little bit of like context to the audience about your background and the exciting journey as a consultant in the fitness industry. So we'll start with this point, and then we can jump into your amazing product, Frío, which is something I really aspire to. So first, let's start with your journey.
Yeah. Where do we start?
Back in the consultancy, I think, because I've seen like multiple roles in the fitness industry.
So it was intentional but unintentional how it had happened. And, you know, I studied a very basic bachelor arts in a private college in the United States, international law, political science, and Spanish. I had a very planned life in perhaps after law school type of thing.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be a sports attorney.
Sweet.
I came from like that Jerry Maguire Show Me the Money, you know, like that was like one of the first movies that you see like as an adult, like you're not an adult, but this is like an adult movie.
Okay.
But it was so fascinating because sports in the US is so big and you're like that NFL thing, like you get paid to do this, you know, type of thing. But then you get to a law firm where you have to, like when you're an undergrad and you're going to a law firm to do your hours or your kind of like your internship type of thing.
Yeah.
And you realize that not very many people are doing sports law. You're going to do wills and divorces and state. and like it wasn't glamorous.
It's more lucrative business, huh?
I mean, and where I lived in the States in Nebraska, not a lot of sports attorneys were coming out of there. You're not in the East Coast or in the West Coast, LA or New York. Mm-hmm. And then my professors at the time were not really the type of professors that were also coming from that space. They were just academics, right? They were tenured professors. So I started to look into economics and finance, and that also I wasn't never really academically inclined. I was socially inclined to be in school, if that makes sense. I was part of every extracurricular activity around the social side of the university. But academically, it was a struggle for me because I didn't really want to put time into things that I didn't really care about.
Fair enough.
You know, so fortunately, we had this work-study program where you work throughout your studies for part of your scholarship from the government. And then I fell into the gym. I was managing the weight room for the athletics.
Okay.
But the reason I fell into that is because I wanted the keys to the gym. Like it was like there's 2 gyms in every university. You have the athletic center for the athletes, and you have the athletic center for the general population.
I see.
I wanted the gym for the athletes because that was the good gym, like all the facilities. So my work study was to manage. I had my shift, and you come in, you pick up the gym, you turn on the TVs, you make sure the mirrors are clean, and you have access to the whole kit.
Yeah.
So that was really how it started for me in terms of I liked the gym. When I got to the States, I was 16. I moved from Venezuela to the States.
Yeah.
So it would have been really late for any type of athletic career when you're 16 starting a sport.
Yeah.
You know, like it's way too late. Everyone's been playing since they're like 5 or 6. I'm talking about football or basketball or baseball.
Yeah.
American sports. And But I fell into the gym, like weight training. And then when you're 17 and 18, you start touching the weights, man, your body is just like, it's just such a development, right? Like you don't have to even eat, you just train. And I really got the feedback I got from that was really, really nice in terms of how it made me feel and how my body was changing. And then, but I never thought I could make a career out of this. You're like, what are you going to be, a trainer? Like, what is this going to be? Like,
yeah.
And you have to think about, like, this is like 25 years ago too.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
an undergraduate study, so fitness was a lot different back then. So it was accidental in the terms of, like, I got that first job managing the weight room. That led me to getting a job at GNC, like the supplement store.
Okay.
Because I wanted a discount for the supplements that I was going to need in the gym.
Everything was within an objective. Huh?
Yeah, and then that GNC job led me to another management job at another rec center for the town now.
Okay.
So it made it harder to go to class because I was already earning good money and I was really doing things that I liked versus doing things that I didn't like but I had to do.
Okay.
But that's where I started to develop this really pick and choose what I was going to do with my time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was very easy because my parents were both academics as well and professionals in that thing, but they were never like, not the traditional Spanish families, you know,
Yeah.
which is like you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, or you can be a pilot. Like, there's like 10 careers for Spanish people. Like, and then Venezuela is like oil engineer or geology and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I was not academically inclined.
Okay.
You know? So as
At least you realized this from the beginning because sometimes you stay confused.
Do you know? Well, I was paying for my own. I mean, I was paying for my own school. I was in a private school.
Okay.
So I knew I had 4 years to really, like, anything other than that was going to cost me a lot more.
Fair enough.
So it was just like a stepping stone. Like, let's get the degree, whatever that means. Let's get it out of the way. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I don't want to be an economist anymore. I just want to do whatever I want to do and figure it out as I go.
Okay.
So, and not having the pressure from my family, it was really nice. And I've always known how to make money. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I wasn't about, like, I could make money. I spend money, but I could make money easy.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just going to write it out, man. Like, I don't have a plan. My plan is not to get stuck somewhere. That was always my thing.
Good.
Don't get stuck.
Good way of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, accidentally, not because it was more of a laziness of not wanting to be academically stuck or buying a house or signing a mortgage and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's a mindset. At least you know that, okay, this I don't like, and what are the things that I can keep exploring.
Yeah. When I was, from being very young, I knew more of like, I've always known what I liked, but of like, I was very sure of what I did not like.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very careful with that. I was like, I'm not doing that. And I don't care how much you pay me to do it. I'm not doing that. So I've always played that line. And it was helpful because my parents were supportive. Like, you don't have to do this kind of thing.
That's a good thing.
And I'm not saying I didn't do jobs that I didn't like or they were not hard. But I've just been very choosy on how I spend my time doing things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
So, but accidental, not like, I mean, intentional in the way, but also accidental how the things fell together after you start living that way.
Awesome.
So long story short, I get into fitness. I graduated in 2004, and then that's after like 9/11, 3 years after 9/11. You cannot find work in the U.S. The housing crunch is about to hit, right? Like in 2005, 6, 7, the only jobs are in banking. Like everyone, you can make $2 million a month selling mortgages and things like that. That didn't interest me.
Where the bubble started.
Yeah, when building up for the bubble, right? So you try to go into the military. I was like, okay, I'm going to do officer school. This is something to do. They're like, no, we have a waiting list of like 5 years because after 9/11, everyone joined the military.
Exactly.
So even like the military doesn't take you, like, you're like, oh my God. So I ended up bartending. I ended up, behind the bar.
Okay.
And that turned out to be like the best 7 years. I mean, postgraduate. So from 2004 to 2010 or 11, I'm bartending. And it was a great life.
Okay.
I mean, it was really, really good life.
It's total different lifestyle.
Yeah, because, now you have money, like you really have money in your pocket and you're making more money than anyone that went the other path. So now your wild decision of like not pursuing academics very far, I took the, not the bar exam, the LSAT exam, which is the law school entrance exam. I didn't do great. I didn't study for it either, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a lawyer for sure. But everyone that went that path, law school, graduate school, job, I'm earning way more than they are.
Yeah.
And they're stuck already. Like, I mean, you just went from being 21 and 22 to doing whatever you want in undergrad to now you're at a job, 9 to 5 every day, waiting for 10 days a year off. I'm like bartending.
And the exposure and the networking.
Yeah.
All the package that comes with the bartender.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So now, I was not at a club. I was at a sports bar. So sports bars are
you stayed in the
you
space.
you stay there, and people are coming to you. I mean, people would see my car in the parking. You know, they say like, "Oh, I saw your truck. Diego's working," and I had people that come see me, literally every day before they went home. Mm-hmm. Like shift workers, you know, duty, like people that work shifts.
Yeah.
Those guys, Diego's working. They come down, and I had 35 chairs in front of me, and I knew everybody that came in. I mean, they were regulars. They were not, like in sports bars, you don't get very new people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like dedicated like group of people that they go there.
Yeah, and then, you know, with the sports, you have football all winter, and then you have basketball all spring. So yeah, it was for money. It was really good.
Money, exposure to the sport, and the networking.
That's really what I learned. I really had time to work on the network, and then connecting dots and realize and memorizing and learning things. You know, like in terms of like what you like, who you are, like who you are when you're here type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then connecting the dots over and over and over and over from there on. So, but the money was really good, but the social life was also very good, and that's how I really. So I wasn't doing as much fitness anymore.
Okay.
I was like pretty big bodybuilder, like fat. Ended up getting in big trouble in 2007 during graduate. I went back to graduate school. It's like because I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So I went like I'm going to do sports medicine, be like a physio or sports therapist or something like that. And I got pulled over for drinking and driving.
Okay.
In 2007, and that cost me about $10,000, and that cost me to change all my friends, all my life, because like I need to do something. Like this is something we've always been doing, you know, since you're in college, you drink and drive. It's like I need to change something. So it happens to be around the same time they go on spring break, and a family member of mine is opening a CrossFit gym in the U.S., one of the first ones in Florida. And he's like, "Hey man, you like to work out? Come work out." Get smashed in the first like 15-minute workout, like warm up, like throwing up, you know, bunch of cute girls. Like it's like on a military base. It's like a nice, and I'm just complete.
That was when the original of CrossFit.
Yeah. So I was like, man, this is cool. Like this is very cool. And then I'm like, what is this? And then I went back to my home state, and I looked it up, and it was like less than 2 miles away from my home. There was one, and then my bar was like another 200 miles away from my house. So I was a little triangle there that I could. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And my gym membership, back then it was like $150. And you're like, man, that's steep. But that to me was like a Monday shift. Like that's like $150 a month. That's nothing.
Yeah, of course.
I had free access to all the other gyms because I knew them from the bar.
Exactly.
And the other gyms were like $20 a month. I joined CrossFit, man, and it just started this whole thing in my mind where I was like, I'm not a very good teacher. And I tried the coaching thing. I got my certification. I'm like, I don't want to teach anybody how to do a squat. Like, no, not for me.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the business side of the thing. I'm like, this thing is just going to be massive.
Exactly.
Like, this is in
which year was this? It's like
2007, 2008.
It's the starting basically.
Starting. So it's very weird out there. Like it's very like early adopter thing in the sense of like none of my friends did it. Everybody's like, why are you paying so much? Why are you going to bed early? Why are you not drinking anymore? Why are you eating this? Why are you not eating that? I'm like, dude, I'm going to try this thing. And then I got into it in 2007, 2008, 2009, and I'm just seeing it commercially. It's just growing. And the YouTube is coming up at the same time. Twitter is coming up at the same time. Facebook. So you have this business miracle happening that not a lot of people are understanding because it's all online. It doesn't really happen in the real world. And eventually I had to make a decision, and I moved to a bigger city. I moved to Austin, Texas, and that was where the mecca of CrossFit was. Like, you know, this facility there, they had 1,000 members at a time. They were charging $300 a month to join. Wow. We had a wait list of people. And then, but I'm
not comparing it with the prices in Dubai, by the way.
It's normal. Just normal. In Austin 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, that would have been a lot of money. I mean, still a lot of money, but, you know, for fitness, for a gym, when you have $25 a month gyms.
Exactly.
With showers and with everything. And this one is just a garage. So I went to this Mecca place, and the CrossFit gym, and they put me behind the front desk. And I still have my bartending gig at another bar in town. But this gym was turning over $150,000 a month. Yeah. Paying the coaches $100 an hour. So I'm like, there's a business. Like, $150,000 a month. It's August. It's July, August, which is the hottest time of the
exactly.
In Austin,
the cycle of the summer.
Austin is 45 degrees, 50 degrees at a time already. We don't have AC like here inside at the gym. So I was like, this is a little thing going on here. So, dude, they were like, I was cutting the grass. I was the front desk person. I was like asking if you pay your membership. But I was just looking at the books. I'm like, how does this work? Where is the math? How do you pay this? How do you where's the money coming from?
It was evident that your mind is wired on the business side of things.
You know what? And that will lead me into my business now and how I run my business now. But it's just I've never been a forward-facing business person or interest. Like that doesn't interest me. You know, if you always look at any political office, you know, you have the president. Everybody knows who the president of a country is, but do you know who like somebody that is in the head of finance? That's the most powerful person. He tells the fiscal the monetary policy for the government, right? So I've always liked the backside more of things because I like privacy. I've always liked privacy. So people often draw to the competition side, to the coaching side, to the me type of thing, and nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me.
More exposure,
and that's very short-lived.
Yeah,
like you that comes and goes a lot fast. Where if you know the business, and they can't take that away from you.
That's the interesting way, especially now with the social media. Everyone is attracted to the exposure and to have this kind of like interface where the reality, where the back end and the trenches, it's more exciting, but it doesn't resonate with a lot of people. They think that okay, it's like just defacing what matters. But I like basically your switch, because now when I look into the story and how you link the dots, this is where what Diego I know now. Is that you moved to the GCC and you went to Kuwait, right?
Yeah, 2013, I got picked up to Kuwait,
But in Kuwait also, you managed the fitness business.
Yeah, I mean, the business, the way we set up the business is we put ourselves in a position where, like, if you were going to open in our industry, you had to go through us, from the equipment, from the flooring, from the supplements, from the staff. So we kind of, like, we created this little ecosystem, like, all things CrossFit related would go through and then we would know before you open your facility that you were opening a facility because I got the email for your equipment. Yeah. So for that, it made a lot of sense to be behind the scenes. And I was a guest in that country. I was not from there. I was just visiting there, and I'm trying to learn how to be in Kuwait. And then do business the way that we've done in North America, which is completely different too, right? But again, it's never been. I never wanted to make it about me. It's always been about the business. And then if I left in 2016, 2017, the business has grown and is still thriving and is still doing good. And to me, that's really cool.
Exactly, because one, you left a legacy and you built the infrastructure there.
But I mean, the biggest concern I always had was like, I want to teach you guys the little that I know, put these things into motion, and they'll work. But you guys have to keep doing it. But it's your thing. I don't want to keep bringing people to do the job that somebody can do here. So, and then again, that leads into how we're in the way that I do business with Frío. I'm a guest in this country. I like the country, but I want to teach people how to do what it is that we're doing. We shouldn't keep bringing it over and over and over and over.
That's true. And this is where I think the journey in Kuwait gave you a taste of how the GCC works. Because in my opinion, based on my previous jobs, that I used to look into Kuwait as a hub of health and wellness compared to another country. But they have this kind of cycle. But what attracted you to move to Kuwait to start with?
Financials. The money, like I was bartending and I was working at a gym and I made okay money because I had a bartending job. The CrossFit gyms didn't pay that. I mean, I worked at the front desk, right? Bartending, I made good money. So I sustained my hobby. But then on the weekends, I was doing CrossFit competitions all over the country with a bunch of brands coming in through the space. So me and two other friends, we started like the very first like athlete management company in CrossFit. So we started talking to our friends and like, hey, we can manage these contracts that you're going to get. So like like apparel and footwear, supplements, these kind of things. We started to get really ground level. You can really charge these, like you can take 10% of $1,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It wasn't worth it. But again, we were at every event. So one thing leads to the other. I find myself working in Copenhagen for a Danish company. And then I'm doing events in London for another group. And then these guys from Kuwait reach out to me and I'm like, come to Kuwait. And I'm like, financially, I'm like, you guys will pay me to I don't have office hours. I don't have to these are my deliverables. Yes, how you get them is not really our problem. So it was really one of the first business opportunities I've ever had where somebody has said, we'll write the checks. You take them. We'll sign them for you. You take them and do whatever it is that you do. And so I had free.
It's a no-brainer.
So it was my business. So I ran it like it was my company.
True.
On somebody else's money. But my biggest concern was like, I don't want to let these guys down. I said that I can do this. Can I do this? So for me, that was the pressure. It was all brought by myself in terms of like, can I deliver what I said I can do without being told, And I never had any leash. Like I told them when I was traveling, just so there was planning in the schedule. But
you're certainly having a like ethical way of managing the business. But it's how Kuwait exposed you to the whole region. And then did you move to Dubai?
Yeah. 17.
17.
Had I not come to Kuwait first, I don't think I would have been able to stay in Dubai as long as I had.
Fair
I
enough.
learned the other side first. I know the Western side. I'm from the U.S. But I learned the GCC, the Khaliji side, when I moved to Kuwait. And then you learn like the difference between Saudi and Kuwait and Qatar and Bahrain.
Exactly.
And these are all friendships and business built through CrossFit. Because who comes to CrossFit were some of the, like initially, the biggest of every of these countries is involved in the sport. They own facilities, they brought staff, these are the biggest families in the region, right?
Yeah.
So there was already a type of people inclined to doing CrossFit. So it exposed me to all these people, and in all these countries there were the decision makers to do anything. So they're like, hey, do you want to come to Bahrain and do this, and we'll pay you for this? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Exactly.
But then you really learn the differences between all of them, and then you learn that we don't do business here like we do business in the States.
We're discussing this before the podcast, basically how the Middle East is like broken down to like a nice mesh of different cultures and doing businesses. It's quite unique. But I'm sure that Kuwait has a different taste, especially moving to the Middle East. And
Well, it's the first time I've been to the Middle East. I've never been.
Yeah, I was
I've
going
been
to ask you
Asia,
this question.
I've been to the Asian Pacific, Asia, and then Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, and that type of stuff. But I never I flew over. I never been And then I had this perception of every Arab country like everyone else has, right? Like I remember the Iraqi invasion in 1991, Desert Storm.
Yeah,
that was my Middle East experience.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that
also, we're discussing this point about the perception about the whole region, which should be changed because definitely things are changing. And then in 2017, when you moved to Dubai, at least the way I see with that, you are really in deep in the fitness and the movement of the fitness in this part. And again, CrossFit, because I used to do CrossFit since 2013, and I saw you basically engage with the CrossFit competition here, which is something cool. So take me through this journey, because everyone used to I'm not sure about the hype now, but at least people get really attracted to the fact that Dubai is leading the CrossFit Championship here in the region.
Well, that was crazy, because in 2013 we had an event in Kuwait called the Battle of the East.
Yes, I know. I've been part
which
of it
was
several
like
times.
a big event, but it was very GCC centric. And then while in Kuwait, I find out about this event in Dubai. It's called Dubai Fitness Championship Challenge. They're giving away like $1 million in cash prizes, and you're like, what? In the U.S., they're not paying.
Exactly. This is basically the difference.
They were so far ahead. Like if you looked at here in 2012, Dubai Fitness Championship and CrossFit Games, they were already ahead here. Like the way they were treating athletes, the way they were paying athletes, the stuff that was going on, the equipment, way further ahead.
Yeah.
So I'm in Kuwait. I'm like, oh my God, how we're going to compete with this thing, right? Like, what are we going to do? But at some point, again, I just thought, I want to spend my time in Kuwait, do what I got to do here, no rush. Because again, it's always been about the long-term vision, not like what I can get today or what I can get tomorrow. It's what does it look like for me in 10 years down the road? So it's crucial to write it out in the sense of like, do something, do it well, and then the opportunities never stop coming.
Yeah.
If you keep doing the way you want to do things.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. Because again, you build the legacy and the name.
If you keep moving around and I understand people have to make money, and I understand you have family to feed and this stuff. For me, that wasn't a priority. For me, it's like, do one thing here well. 5 years is not that long. I said 5 years in Kuwait, I ended up being like 3.5, almost 4. But it was just like, write it out. Don't say yes to everything. Say yes to one thing. Be patient. That created an opportunity. When I wanted to move to Dubai, I contacted Saud Al-Shamsi. I said, hey, I want to move to Dubai or Abu Dhabi. And then he made arrangements, like, why don't we talk about DFC, blah, blah, blah. We'll let you help us out as much as you can. We are doing this. And I'm like, okay, I think we can try this and see if this works too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know how to do it better. I said, let's try different things here to see what we can do. And then, but yeah, it's been through CrossFit, like the whole journey. And a lot of people, you can think of whatever you want about the pull-ups or however we do things inside the gym. If that's what CrossFit is to you, then you really don't understand a business or a business miracle. Because it's not about the pull-ups. Like, it's very little about the pull-ups.
I think it's a very long discussion, because I've been into the journey since it became actually Dubai is a CrossFit destination. I think it's 2012 when I started, and of course I went through the cycles. Now I'm doing a little bit of powerlifting. I'm more functional, but we're gonna discuss the. I need to see your perspective about not the sport, but how the overall fitness industry, because you've been involved, I would say, since the incubation, and how things are moving for this space in this region, and especially Dubai. So how things are moving? Do you think that it's like growing?
Look, from a customer standpoint, it's awesome, man. You have like every concept at every price point. So and then you have the parks and the free areas, too, parks and sidewalks, and so you have like, if you can't afford anything, you can go downstairs from your building and there's probably going to be a park with some equipment like body weight stuff, which is what most countries had before gyms. But if you also have every different type of budget, you have a facility for that.
I see.
So here it's very, I mean, it's really good. You have the social media things of fitness, and I don't think that's ever changed. You know, like we used to have videotapes, Jay Fonda, right? So like we've always had different stuff going on in fitness and how you consume. There are 8-minute abs or whatever. That's always been there. Social media makes it easier to put it forward facing. But in the core of fitness, I think it's only more people are training. After COVID particularly, you saw the prioritizing of fitness. This is like, before people would probably travel and then maybe not work out. Now you build your travel. Now you travel to work out. Now you have fitness retreats, right? Which is crazy. Like, people are going to go across the world to just work out.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this is where, like, you know, as people get younger, the health thing just becomes a priority. Like now, like if I move from building today in Dubai to another area of Dubai, how far of a commute is that from my gym?
That's smart.
What grocery stores are there? Do you know? So because that is your priority, that's going to spend, that's where you start your day or finish your day. So that becomes like a anchor for you. So I mean, since COVID, I think COVID was like the best thing that happened to gyms in Dubai.
True.
Like, yeah, a few probably used it to close down and say, we're done. Like, we're not making money. And a lot of people pivoted and say, we're going to invest in the facility. We're going to paint it. We're going to put new kit. We're going to go bigger. And you can see now the gyms are full.
True.
I mean,
this is the point. Is like when I did some research to understand how this space, how this industry is moving before and even after after COVID. Sorry, is that how things are widespread of options you have, and the same time the opportunity to, of course, to leverage on the connected fitness and the technology and the digital solutions. It's becoming more widespread. I'm talking about global perspective.
Yeah.
If even Dubai, as you mentioned, about the expansion of the touch point or the retail, it's really booming.
Yeah.
But what's the saturation basically point that, okay, are we moving to a healthy options, or basically just like it's a good destination to jump into?
Yeah.
It's let's say, I think it's a time will tell.
I think if you've always liked accessories or software and hardware, that's never going to change in terms of like for globally. You know, some people always want to see how many calories they burn, and that, like, that market's always there. They kind of diddle in fitness in and out.
Yeah.
But whatever definition of fitness you are, people are definitely like maybe walking more, taking the stairs more. There, at least you don't go somewhere where people are not talking about what's in it. Even if you're not really into fitness, you'll turn around the can and see what's in it.
True.
Which before you might have not have done it.
No.
And you might still drink it even if it's shit, but you're still looking. So I think the saturation, I don't know. I mean, you know, the technology, like the big companies have moved into this space. This space didn't move into the big companies. So you saw like big campuses, like even 10 years ago when I was in Austin. Austin had a full HQ business in Austin, and they had a full CrossFit gym. They had yoga, they had swimming, it looked like a gym.
True.
The CrossFit gyms in the city didn't look like Apple, but Apple made their campus look more like what people were doing outside of campus.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah.
and this goes into, you don't see commercial gyms, you don't see CrossFit gyms look like commercial gyms, but you see every commercial gym try to put a space in there that is more like a functional space, right? Now, the CrossFit gyms that leverage technology from mass global gyms do really well.
True.
Like, okay, nice toilets. Okay, call people on their birthday. Okay, like little things like that. If you leverage that as a small business, it also helps. But then the big commercial gym can't know the names of every athlete or every member.
I see.
They see them as numbers, right? So you need to have a software to check in people to make sure you pay. Small business can be like, hey, Sap, you haven't paid. Right? You know the owner. He's like, hey, man, I haven't seen your name on the debit card. So it's both there, right?
No, that's interesting how things are moving. But yeah, I think it's. I'm really interested now to jump into the consumer packaged goods, which is Frío, your brand, and I'm really, because now when I knew about basically your background, I think that you have connected the dots from your background, fitness, consultancy, even being a lawyer.
The idea of being a lawyer on TV.
Again, you came up with this concept, which I'm fascinated, especially that I'm coming from the FMCG world, and I know basically how cool and how challenging this business is. I wouldn't say in this country specifically, but this concept, because I saw the value of it now. I'm a fan of sparkling water, but in the same time, I need to pick up on your basically thoughts at the beginning, how it kicked off, and how basically the journey of like launching Frío.
So you come from like the corporate side of the food and beverage, like you know everything about it.
Yeah.
And I know the opposite of nothing about it. I didn't know anything other than very basic, how things end up in the shelf, who owns what, who pays for what, how things are made. Very basic. The opportunity was more of like, I didn't have this product available in Dubai. So that was like, or in the Gulf. Challenge number one, I can't find something that I like on the shelf. So how can I solve this? I was making sparkling water at home for myself. You know, I know how to make it. I can flavor it, whatever. But I'm like, if I'm missing it, are there other people missing it? So then that led to a conversation with my now business partner. It's like, hey, he asked me what I was up to. I said this, and he's like, I also want that. I've always been missing this. Let's look into it. Very long stories. It started because we couldn't find it, and the ones that we can find were being imported. And we thought, why are we importing water? Like, forget about sustainability and anything. Like, there's no technology in this that we can't. It's not an aircraft or a car. We can make water. Why are we bringing things from the U.S. or from Europe over here? That was a second like tipping point, right? Yeah. So the first, like, I don't have it. What I need, what I want. Second is like, why are we bringing it from somewhere else? And third, there's a commercial opportunity. Obviously, you're investing a lot of money and time and resources into it, so there has to be a commercial ability there, opportunity there.
True.
And the opportunity is that we know this is one of the fastest growing, or the largest segment of beverage growing in North America. Maybe it takes 5 years to get here. Maybe it takes 10 years to get here. Maybe already is here. But the opportunity is because the big guys, like where you come from, cannot fulfill this or cannot get it right. More or less, they cannot. Okay. They're too big. And even though maybe the CEO's granddaughter is drinking it, he's not thinking how he can make it, because he's only thinking, how can I sell 1 billion bottles? He's not thinking, how can I sell 1 million bottles?
True.
So it's not worth his time.
The flexibility and the bureaucracy attached to it, it's not, it cannot be.
And to be fair, because the social media makes it very hard, before you were able to make a product just for North America. And everything, no one would. I remember when I was little and people came back from Japan with like Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, and you're like, whoa, green tea, Coca-Cola. Like, Coca-Cola knew you'll never find out that there was this product there. Now they can make something in Japan because they see it on Instagram. They're like, I want this. And the customer he doesn't care if it's another country.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, you make green tea?
That's true.
I want it in Dubai. Like, fix it for me. So it's very, very hard for them to make unique things to each country that look like that country, that feel like that country. So because those big companies get so far from the customers, they don't really know what customers want. And usually what you see happen is when big companies come up with new ideas, they don't really go really well. Like when the big 500 food companies.
Yeah, the complexity of creating a business unit or a task force to manage this,
So
it takes longer.
Yeah, you have an R&D team, and they have to do a survey from a big 4 company that is consulting, and they're gonna like, do people like this? And the little companies can mix sour candy with salt and put it in a beverage, and then put it on TikTok, and they're like, kids liked it.
True.
How long does it take for a big company to respond? Oh, it's going to be a fad. It's not going to last. So the opportunity is there. Like, can we do little things? Can we try new things that not available? And if it doesn't work, then we try something else. We have the equipment, right? We can make new flavor. We can make a new label. All that's very interchangeable. And it wasn't available in Dubai either. Right now, you can make things for the entire region. Yeah. But you cannot make things for just like a small group. So we built our factory so we can make things for ourselves.
I see.
So there are commercial implications very globally.
Absolutely.
Scaling up, but it's very easy to scale up. If you look at an industry in manufacturing, it's very easy to scale up. What you don't want to do is start too big and then have to like fire everybody and go backwards.
Fair enough. I think you already covered the foundation. This is what really I'm really fascinated, basically how it started as the basic stuff and what you're doing behind the scene, and how you brought this idea into really an amazing bottle. And again, one of the things that I was trying to understand the use of it, especially maybe the children, they don't like yet the sparkling water, but there is a nice positioning for the whole idea.
Yeah. Well, there's a lack of so you can have sodas with fructose, high fructose corn syrup. You can have sodas with artificial sweeteners, but they both have coloring and they have caffeine, for example. You can have juices, which are not usually juice. It's mostly water concentrate,
Flavoring.
full of color. So it looks orange because it's not really orange when you squeeze water. So you have to make it look like what it says it looks.
Exactly.
And then you have to add a lot of stuff so it stays on the shelf for a long time.
True.
So for us, it's just like what's in it, what you read in the label, which is 0, it's what it has in it. Like it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
But the upper because we couldn't find it again. Like I went to the movies at 8 or 9 p.m. I didn't want to have a soda with caffeine. Okay, so what's my other option? A soda without caffeine or without high fructose corn syrup, but then it has sweetener. The sweetener is even worse than the real thing. You still get the insulin response.
Yeah.
So metabolically, you're still engaging. So now your metabolism is trying to neutralize this sugar that is not there.
That's true.
Right. So now your insulin sensitivity decreases. So, and we know from the big companies like yourselves too that people are using less of those traditional products and they're looking for new alternative products.
True.
Now there's a lot of companies that make with different things like aminos or collagens or vitamins, and if you're looking for this from a beverage, that's not my mark. Like, you should be eating this stuff. You shouldn't be having to find it from your water. Doesn't need to be fortified with.
I cannot agree more.
Right? Like this should be coming from somewhere else.
Exploring this space can take you places
Yeah.
like, okay, what are the alternatives? What are the things? Coffee, non-coffee. It's like it becomes a wide. But this is an amazing trend actually, especially that people became more aware about their health, and you tapped into a lot of I think problems that exist, and it's definitely Frío can play a big role. Regarding Diego, actually, it's you moved totally from a distance business management to deep dive into owning something.
Yeah.
And take me through your journey. How, again, I'm interested to see your mental resilience about it, because you had the experience, but it's your own, which is totally different story.
Well, 95% of the burden I feel to make this work is not personal, but I have somebody that I told them, like my partner, right? Like, let's do this together. I know that I can do it. And he's like, but you've never done this before. Like, yeah. So, how do you reconcile that you've never owned a beverage company, you've never sold a beverage product, you've never done it, but this one's going to work? So you have to go back and say, okay, well, I've done this, and this, right? But for me, we do everything ourselves. It doesn't make sense for us to pay somebody else to do it, to speak on our behalf, to do the sales on our behalf.
That's true.
Eventually, you will need it. It gets too big where you can't be doing everything like that. But however, it's I'm doing this not as a job. This is something that I enjoy doing, just like fitness, like the gym. I like being in the gym, so I was in that business. I like sparkling water. I like drinking it, and I use it so I can sell it. But I'm not selling the water. I'm selling our idea and what we feel about the product, or what we're trying to do in Dubai. Maybe, hopefully, we're just like the little spark that starts a bunch of people to make these businesses. Maybe we're like the smallest one of it. Maybe after everything's said and done, 10 companies start and they're bigger than us and they have huge exits and whatever. But we want to be like that catalyst of guys, stop importing everything. Guys, no more coffee houses, no more burger restaurants, no more donuts. Let's create industry. Let's create industry for other industries. Because now we're to the point where I think we reached the capacity of what we can do as two guys that own a water company. Now it's getting to that serious level. Now everybody that found it on Instagram and whatever bought it. But now you got to go to the big leagues, right? And now the big leagues don't operate they don't care that it's made in Dubai. Like that doesn't matter.
Profitability, man.
Yeah. Well, now they're looking at what do they get out of it. If somebody's going to put this on the shelf, what do they get?
Yeah.
It's not just, okay, we're not friends, so it has to be a business transaction.
Yeah.
So then we say, well, if you put it on there, we guarantee it's going to sell. Because look at the label. There's nothing in your shelf that looks like our label. There's nothing. So you have to start to build that story and show them that it has value. But I don't consider myself as a business owner. I don't consider myself as an entrepreneur or a CEO. Like, that to me means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't care. I don't like being in the factory all day either. I like being out selling, talking about it. If I talk to you about it today and it's not for you, I go to the next person and talk to them about it. I hear more no's, but then I get a lot of yeses too. So there's no journey of what's going to happen A, B, C, D, E. I'm going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep growing in the sense of you want to move more cans every month. But by moving cans, I want more people trying it. That's what I mean. And I don't mean like selling more. It's like I just want more people to try it because I know if more people try it, they will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing is like when somebody tries it that doesn't know me, and then I see it, and they're talking about it. So I said, okay, it's not just me that likes it. Like I know that it's a decent product, and I know that
there is something behind it.
And when you tell me like my kids like it, and you're like, okay, good, like good, because if the kids like it, they're the ones that are going to buy it maybe in the next 5 or 10 years.
That's true.
So that's where that would it be nice if it all happened year 1 or year 2 or year 3 or year 4? Yes. But that person trying it today, at one point will have a home and they'll be making the decisions of what goes into their fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Can that be what goes into the fridge for them?
It's fascinating because I see the how you're grounded in the idea. Actually, it is an idea, not as a business, because when we had several discussions about the target group and what from the corporate world, and I'm trying to unlearn this, by the way. It's really tough after 17 years. Yeah. But the whole point, this is where basically I see the value, because what we mentioned, how the kids are being attracted to such ideas, especially that it brings benefits, it has texture, and it has identity. This is the most important thing. And the kids are decision makers by the end of the day, especially when you are a family guy. Yeah. But I see the point of like how this journey, and also what really fascinated me, that you are on the scene, in the factory, you are loading your truck, you are discussing with the partners, with the customers, that this is where I see it attractive as, I wouldn't say a business owner, but someone that believes in an idea and how he drives it. This is where basically encapsulate basically how your mind work, especially not on the business, as a lifestyle. And till today, you're still active and you're still training CrossFit, right? It's not.
I go to the gym every day. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I want to tap into this because I know the whole idea, again, with the challenges that you face coming up with business or anything, is that how to break the balance between business objectives and your lifestyle. And this is where I see basically you're still active in the CrossFit, doing CrossFit, taking care, of course, being conscious about basically your based on the Frío, that what are the things that you consume on daily basis, how your program, how you're fitting in all of this, and on the business side.
There's no balance because like while we were building the factory and we were doing all the business plans for the last 3 years, I literally stopped going to the gym. Financially, it didn't make sense for me to spend money, even though it's good for me to spend money in this fitness thing, right? Because I enjoy doing it. But when I went and started to raise capital for my business and we wanted to invest in this product, it's like I need to put all my eggs in this basket. Because for me, there's no plan B. I can't. I know some people can do the thing and the other thing. I can't. So to me, the first 3 years were grind to make this can possible. So when I take that, then I was able to go to the gym again. I can do them together. I have all the equipment at home. But mine doesn't, like, I have to put everything here. Okay, launched. Where can I launch this? Where do I know most people in the fitness industry? Who goes to these type of facilities? All the decision makers in any country or any city are usually in these places. When you look at it that way, it's like who's attracted to these places? What does it cost to go to these places? It's all the right demographic. So now I'm doing the things that I enjoy, which is the water that I make and the gym that I like, and then I put them together. And there's no more bigger icebreaker that when I enter a place,
True.
I'm not really entering to sell water. I'm entering to do a workout in.
Yeah.
And then everyone's going to say, well, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, I sell water. Huh. So I'm just connecting more of the things that I like to do so I have less things to do.
That's interesting way
but to do more of what I like to do. So I'm not trying to create more work to me that keeps me away from this and going to the gym. And I'm not saying that going to the gym or going for a walk or doing a fitness retreat.
Yeah.
But the idea is to create more time for myself to do the things that I like to do. So combining the two just makes sense because every workout is a business transaction too. I pay a drop-in fee. They get their 100 dirhams for the class. And then now I touch a bunch of different people that might have not seen me before. And maybe that leads to a sale or to an invite to an event. Or like, hey, my office orders, they have a kitchen, can you put? Sure. Big companies like you cannot do that. The biggest companies in the world pay agencies to do this job.
Absolutely.
In a really bad way.
Absolutely.
I think I've seen pears and bananas being sampled at a gym. But this is a cry for help of this big corporation. They got so big from what they do, they don't even know what the customer is doing. They heard, oh yeah, gyms are good for fruit. Go to the gym. Okay, you can have a fruit stand and stand there, and I can go do a workout, bring my water, guarantee you it's going to sell more water than you're going to sell fruit.
Yeah.
Because we have that common language, which is fitness, which is feeling good, which is living longer, right? And then you're ready to pay a premium for it. You're at a premium place because you know how much it costs, right? The facilities that you go, it's not like the cheapest facility you can find.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by certain specific people, and those are the type of people that you relate with, that understand your journey, and that's where you want to be. So it's just combining intentionally everything that I can do into one place. I love it. So I can do more of it.
Yeah, now it makes, although I'm involved and I'm watching the journey, but now it resonates even better how basically the idea behind it and how you are driving it on ground. The question is that where do you see it after like 5-10 years?
Well, obviously I want to create a place where I can hire, like I want it to be a place where we can hire a lot of more people and create more jobs. Like to me in a long-term thing, like I want it to be a 50, 100-year-old business where you create jobs. You create opportunity for other people to pursue the things they want to do. For me, it creates more space and more freedom for me to do the things that I want to do, which is, my family, maybe go back and forth more between the States and here. But I also want to open up more, and I want to help other people start their business. For me, almost like 90% of this is done in the terms of like, I already launched. Now I'm in the ready market. Now it has to become a business, but now I want to help other people get going. Like start now.
Yeah.
Like get your business. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So like, it's not that hard in the sense of like, you just got to start. So that's where I'm at now. Like, if this is successful, it depends what success means to other. Like, let's say you get bought out. Let's say some company gets bought out, but that means I have to work for somebody for the next 5 years too. So you almost end up where the place that you avoided. So I didn't work 41 years to end up working for somebody, even though if they bought you out, right? Like, because that's the conundrum that's a way it can go.
Exactly.
They say, yeah, we buy you, but you stay here for the next 5 years.
That's possible, of course. But
and you're like, oh man, so I went 41 years without working for someone. Now I have to start today. That's going to be really hard. So then also you have to understand what success means for this type of business. So to me, it's just to like be able to have a team where I can step away, come back, step away, come back, step away. But I don't want to get away from it because this is what I like doing anyway.
Love it.
Right? So like, can I take my customers fishing and then we bring the water and talk business? Yeah, okay, that's what. So I can do more of that.
True.
Right? But for me, it's a priority to be able to sustain myself and to sustain my family. And just create space.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Where do people can find Frío?
Right now, we have our own website, friosparklingwater.com. We're on Amazon.ae. We are on few aggregators like Waterwide, Grocer, Watermelon Market, and we'll be announcing pretty soon a big retailer partnership that we're going into. Which I think is going to be kind of one of those. I think there's a lot of tipping points, but there's a pretty big one that we're pretty excited to work with. It's a great opportunity here in Dubai.
Amazing.
Premier brand, premium locations, and I think just the right audience for them to try our water. It's not public. It's not been announced yet where we're going to, but there's about 65 cafes and restaurants and gyms around Dubai. So usually you can ask if they'll have it. If they don't have it, tell them to bring it. And I'll bring my stand, I'll bring my table, and I'll bring my tent, and we'll let them try the water.
Sweet, man. And where people can find you?
Alcosace 3 is my factory. You don't want to come all the way there. It's too far. I think my Instagram, is Diego R. Centeno.
Oh, I'll put the
you can WhatsApp me anytime.
Yeah, of course. I'll put the number there.
I have both. I have the work phone and I have my personal, but my number's on the cans too. If you scan that, it takes you to the WhatsApp number, so you can deal with us directly. So
Sweet,
that's what we're doing. We're doing Frío full time.
Sweet, man. So that's where you can find me. I wish you all the best. I love it. I love the idea, and of course, your mindset is fits in as a founder.
I don't know those words, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand.
But
there is a title you have to. But yeah, man, Diego, I cannot thank you enough.
Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed this chat, and again, we'll definitely catch up for a lot of discussions after that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I really enjoyed basically the comments and the conversation about the previous episodes. So stay tuned, Superhuman Switch.
Thank you.
Diego, thank you.